Are there opportunities to increase the revenue? What about ways to increase profitability by reducing expenses? So we're looking at what's making up the cost. Are there ways to squeeze more profitability? Compensation. It is the most asked and talked about thing that we do over here. What your providers are asking and they're saying is the norm is probably not actually the norm, and we just need to do the math. It's very difficult to manage something that you are not measuring, that you're not looking at, that you're not tracking. 80% of our clients are up in revenue this year. They're up in profitability. It's an average of like 16 to 17%. The strong, the smart, the strategic, the intentional ones are the ones that are thriving.
I'm gonna kick back when you fake that.
Welcome to Beauty Unveiled. I'm Dr. Angela Sturm, and here we talk about the truth behind plastic surgery, the people doing it, the people getting it, and the people around them. And today I'm super excited to have Christin Trujillo, who's a founding partner of Maven Financial. They help medical practices, aesthetic practices, dental practices understand their financials, be able to grow and do new things and all the steps of the way. And her team has helped us out a lot, and so I'm excited to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm such a big fan.
Oh, well, likewise. So I just wanted to start, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get here? Why aesthetics? Why financial? How did you get here?
How did we get here? So Maven used to be a part of another business back in 2018. It was an M&A and a fractional CFO firm, primarily worked with dentists in this space. And then somewhere along the line, we got situated in aesthetics. We started working pretty closely with AmSpa and Bertadato. You may have heard of some of these things. We're pretty agnostic in this space, so regardless of how you feel and what you think about, any of these partners, but we determined that, this is pretty common, a fractional CFO firm that works with dentists and really other healthcare verticals, but it's not happening in the aesthetic space. Mm-hmm. So we started working with more and more aesthetic clients. So this is on the med spa side, the plastic surgery side. We're getting into derm, cosmetic surgery, and we don't have really any competitors in the space. So we kind of just nicely situated here, and that's about 70% of our clients and the practices that we work with now. But what we do if you're like, what the heck is a fractional CFO, Christin? So most folks, they have a bookkeeper and you have a CPA. Hopefully you've got a CPA and you're not trying to avoid jail, and you're paying your taxes and all the things. But those are kind of like the basic bare minimum financial partners that you have. The bookkeeper, their functionality though, they're reconciling your financials. They're preparing your P&L and your balance sheet. They're not really advising you on your decisions. They're not advising you on the performance of the practice. And then the CPA, they're typically filing your taxes. And if they are advising you, it's from a tax strategy standpoint, and they're looking in the rearview mirror. Mm-hmm. Well, so So not getting a lot of advice over there, but so what a fractional CFO does is we bridge the gap between these partners, and our goal is really getting into the practice management system so we can understand what's happening with revenue. Are there opportunities to increase the revenue? How is the performance? How are we comparing to other practices that are just like yours in terms of KPIs, in terms of these different benchmarks that we're seeing? So is there more juice to squeeze there? And then looking at the financials, what about ways to increase profitability by reducing expenses? Is that possible? So we've got lots of different benchmarks depending on your supply costs and the way that you're structured. With plastic surgery, it's hard to do a benchmark on consumables because you might have an in-house anesthesiologist, you might have an outsourced one, it might be part of your facility fee, you might have, you might own your OR. So it's not fair to have this blanket, you need to be at this percentage, because it can be very varying. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at, what's making up the cost? Are there ways to squeeze more profitability? And then truly, we're helping navigate any operational decision that you have in the practice. Should I hire? How do I structure an offer letter? I know you and I have had conversations about, is this person right fit? And what does it look like if we bring them on? And what about if, we expand, or if I open a building, anything that you can possibly think about that's operational. What are the financial implications of this? What does that look like?
Right.
So that's what we're helping to navigate, manage cash flow, make really good, smart business decisions using financials as a guiding point.
Yeah. And those benchmarks are super helpful because it's been great for me to be able to say, okay, what are other people paying? What are you seeing across the country? What's fair? What's not fair? Because I'm in my little bubble, I'm in my little Houston bubble.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you find that's interesting. So you mentioned compensation, what are people paying? What other things have you found has been super helpful to just, what are other people doing with this? What do you think?
Benchmark wise, just having those numbers of, okay, well, what does my cost of goods need to be? Because you're in the beginning, you're just buying things because you need it, and what does my payroll need to be? Am I paying too many people or paying people too much for what they're doing? What is a good number for that? Because definitely as a physician, I don't know. Nobody's taught me that. I can Google it, but what does that really mean? And what does that mean in aesthetics? So I think it's huge that y'all know our industry well enough to say, okay, well, your cost of goods on your med spa side is going to be way different than your plastic surgery side, and here's what's a good range to have them in. And I said, just when you're trying to grow your med spa and you're there's so many different compensation models for injectors, and I feel like I have heated discussions on a regular basis about this, of what's fair and what's not, and this place is doing this amount, and you're how do you even make any money? I have no idea. How are you competitive while still being able to make money, and having someone that you can lean back on and say, okay, well, this is not just coming from me. You know what I mean? This is coming from a real place of these numbers. I'm not just making this up,
I love that. That's my favorite place to be. I think our clients are but we're going to tell the providers that it's you that recommended this. Yes, make us the bad guy. But I mean, really, it comes down to math, and I'm so happy that you find that perspective helpful, because really on all the things that you said, the med spa cost of goods sold is drastically different than a surgical. Mm-hmm. We already kind of mentioned the variances if you're just surgical, what that could look like, and there's a lot. And the payroll, we could have a whole podcast and probably a series on just the compensation. It is the most asked and talked about thing that we do over here. How should we pay? What should we pay? What makes sense? Mm-hmm. And I try to make it as simple as possible, and I think that it's really important in what we do. And this is really integrated into our brand with the advice that we get. I feel I don't know, whenever you think about finance, you think about maybe a finance bro, or maybe an old man that talks down to you. Right. And we want to break it down and make it very simple. So what does this look like? In compensation, it can be complicated, and there are millions of these compensation structures. Mm-hmm. But truly, it just comes down to the math.
Yeah.
So how many non-providers do you have? How many providers? What are their functions? This is what we're seeing, but I can promise you one thing, that what your providers are asking and they're saying is the norm, mm-hmm. is probably not actually the norm, and we just need to do the math to see what makes sense in terms of, we want to make this simple, incentivizing, but it's got to be profitable for your business.
Right. It doesn't make sense if you recruit all these great people and then you pay them so much you're not making any money. And so, I don't know, I feel like I've seen that a lot. And I feel like it's been hard to have conversations because they're not comparing apples to apples. They're oh, well, it's this percentage. And I'm was it on net or gross? And nobody really knows.
Exactly.
I'm well, that makes a huge difference, And I know y'all like to do it on gross. I've had conversations about this, but I think it's fascinating. So why do you prefer doing it that way versus like net?
Yes.
Or
Okay,
do you
so
prefer?
let's break down the definitions here. So you can have if you're talking about percentages, so I'm going to pay somebody like a base plus like 10%, or I'm just going to pay them 20 or 25%. Or in the surgical world, like they'll get a percentage after they hit 2.5x or 2.5 times, right? Like it's all of these things. But in terms of gross production, I'm talking about services that are produced before discounts and adjustments. So if you take insurance, this is more common on the surgical side, you would be compensating on somebody or something where this is like the full fee for service, but you're not necessarily going to receive that in terms of the payment, because insurance is going to pay you whatever they pay you, or I've discounted it. So that's gross production. Then there's net production, which is my team and I, we go back and forth with this, and sometimes we just have to adjust the percentages. So I think you can pay on gross and you can pay on net, but the percentages have to be different. So if I'm paying on gross, I cannot pay that inflated percentage like I would be paying on net production. So the definition for net production is the gross production minus the discounts, not minus the discounts and minus the COGS. Because something that we're hearing a lot, oh, well, they're getting paid 40% net. And I'm like, well, it can't be 40% net production. And they're saying net is minus the COGS or the supply cost, which that's a totally different, that is net production minus COGS. It's not just net. So I think that is used interchangeably, and they have very different definitions. And then you can also pay on collections, which should be similar to the net production, but there's a timing differential. So are you doing, I honestly should know this, but do you do like prepaids and gift cards and things like that in your practice on the med spa side? So if I do a package or a series of something, I get the collections here, but then the work still has to be done in another month. So my preference is to not pay on collections. It is to pay on either the gross, but I need to make sure the math is right, because I'm going to have to, I'm discounting or I'm adjusting. And then really I like net because it's clean, like net production, not minus COGS. It's minus the discounts, and it's when the work happens. So I'm not paying before the work even happens, because what if I pay this provider on this $10,000 package that she sold and she quits next week?
Exactly.
Then I got to pay somebody else to do the work.
I know. And then you've paid twice.
So,
or the patient decides, oh, I don't want to do this, and I want my money back. And then you're stuck.
The worst. Exactly.
I prefer that too. Like when the work is done, and I've had that discussion with people, especially for like salespeople and things like that. And they're like, well, it's more motivating up front. I'm like, I understand that.
Yes.
But it puts me in a pickle on the backside if things don't work out.
I think it's incentivizing for the providers too, because, truly whenever we're seeing patients, we can think about it from a patient care standpoint as well as a monetary and a profitability standpoint. But whenever that patient is coming in and they bought this package 4 months ago, well, we probably need to revisit the consultation, or how are things going? Like, let's reevaluate, your pain points. We talked about this last time. You said it wasn't the right time and right place. I want to address your pain points, but this is what I'm noticing, and this is what I would suggest. And so is there opportunity to add more and cross-sell? Oh, we didn't have this device last time, or we didn't have this treatment last time. So I think there's a lot of incentive. Yes, you're going to be paid when the work is done, but you've got now more opportunity to really take care of this patient now.
And do the right thing for the patient at the time. And address what their concerns are. Because we'll see they'll come in and they're like, oh, it's laxity. And then they're like, no, really, it's the brown spots. I saw a picture of myself and, oh my gosh, is that real? And so then the concerns have shifted,
Yes. the pictures are just assaulting. And then we show them the picture and give them the mirror, and we've got these lights that we don't have in our own houses. And like, oh, I looked good on Zoom and in my mirror. But wow, okay.
Yeah, like, oh.
It's offensive, but it's so enlightening. Okay, well, yeah, this is actually a concern.
I see it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's the most common thing that people come to you for? Because I'm sure that when people come to you, it's not because things are going fantastic, So what is the point that you see most people at?
Yeah. It's not a complicated question, but I do think it's varying in that we have practice owners that come to us in all phases of the business. They could be just starting. It could be before they start. They're like, I've got an idea. I have a dream.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, well, let's put this dream into a plan and let's kind of project manage you to open. And then some folks will be early on. We've got clients that have been in business for 10, 20 years. And they're like, well, things are actually going fine, but I look at my bank account and it looks good to me. I would like to have more insight and understanding. Some clients, they do want to grow and they're like, I'm not able to look at it. I'm wearing too many hats. I would like to take this hat off. I need some help. And I want to be very intentional about how I'm getting to my financial goals. And so that's where we come in, and we're really strategic about analyzing what's going on. We're doing this anyway, but what's going well, what's not going well, let's strategize how to fix it, because we want to get you to whatever goal you have. If that's growth, if that's expansion, if that's selling your practice.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that are kind of wrapped up in that. Like, are you producing most of the revenue? Is your profitability where we want it to be?
Yeah.
Is there more juice to squeeze? Do we need to hire some people in order to make this, feasible and all of the things? So, people come to us, they're like, I want to take over the world. I want to open, 10 more locations. And we're like, okay, so there's money involved and there's planning and feasibility and cash flow management, and we'll help them get loans and lines of credit to do so. So I really think that it's varying, and in my opinion, I think everybody needs this if you aren't already doing it.
Yeah.
So, if you are doing it, there's a lot of power and there's a lot of function. It's very difficult to manage something that you are not measuring, that you're not looking at, that you're not tracking.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why we work with so many clients, and that's why we retain our clients, typically for life until they retire or sell.
Yeah, it's very helpful because we're not taught any of these things, so it's nice to have that person to give you information and discuss things and talk it through and, different perspectives. And like you said, look at the objective numbers and, okay, well, which is going to be the better, because the math doesn't lie,
Yes, for sure. And, I think we all have our place in the world. Like, I don't do my own Botox, or Dysport or what have you. I don't do my own injectables. What is a varicose vein? What is a cannula? I can't even pronounce some of this, like the mommy makeover surgeries. What is it? And I may have even told you this before. I'm gonna do air quotes. I accidentally went to a cadaver lab one time. I just had to be wheeled out of there. Like, I just, we all have our place in the world, and I love my spreadsheets and numbers, and I think it's helpful to have experts really, I want an expert working on my body, like inside and out. And I think it's helpful to have an expert help you with your financial goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you're saying, when people start out, I think that's a great place to have someone like, oh, I wish I'd knew this existed whenever I started, but I'm glad I have you now. So with those people that are barely starting out, like, what is your advice? What's the first thing they should do besides call you?
Besides call us? Gosh, I do think it is to call us. I would definitely be thoughtful. If you aren't going to call us, I would put together a realistic, it's called a pro forma, but put together a forecast, a budget, and do a do one that looks cute, that's showing you making a lot of money really soon, but also do a conservative one. And think about everything, because the costs will be more than you are anticipating.
Yes.
The revenue and the patients may be slower than we are hoping. And be thinking about, well, what are we going to do if that is the case?
Right.
Did I ask for enough money up front with the loan? So it gives me some flexibility with some working capital.
Yeah.
If patients are coming in, if patient volume is not where I thought it would be, and I'm not getting as many consults as I thought, well, what am I going to do, and how am I going to shift my marketing strategy? Do I have the right partners, the right people in place?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And everything comes back to money. We talk about operations, the workflows. We talk about marketing a lot. We talk about, the vendors and the suppliers that we use, and the facilities and the rent. Every single thing that touches your practice has an implication. So I think that's what I would absolutely suggest. So just be thinking about all of these things.
Yeah. And it's a lot. It's a lot to think about in the beginning, things you don't realize, when you're starting out. So what do you think of, this is a little bit different direction.
Go for it. Take me there.
Yeah. I feel like med spas are in an interesting place. Like, what is your take on where we're at, like, market-wise with med spas? Because I see them opening and I see them closing, and I see lots of changes. And what's your thoughts and opinions? Because you must see the other sides of the med spa for me.
It is evolving. It is all over the place. There are lots of things that are happening all at once. It's over the last several years, we've seen huge growth of locations. So there's more locations being added. In the last year, it was like the biggest boom of new startups and people that are opening practices. So what is that doing in the industry? It's causing market share and dilution of existing practices that have been here prior to 2022. Basically, if you had a med spa in 2022, you grew without even trying. You just had to put the sign on your door. It was happening. But right now, people are like, oh, well, that was exciting, and I saw that, so I think I want to do this myself. So you have providers that are leaving their practices that are starting. That's happening all over the place. People that aren't even in this vertical, that are coming out of hospitals, that are coming out of the ER and other different healthcare verticals that are wanting, better work-life balance, fee-for-service. They want to get out of insurance. They are opening their own practice. So it's not just people that are already in this industry that are fragmenting. So there are more locations, and it's not causing the industry to shrink. People are spending more money, but now where are the patients spending the money? And so we're seeing more locations. With that, the strong, the smart, the strategic, the intentional ones are the ones that are thriving. So are you part of the med spa, like the Facebook med spa owners groups, like one of them?
It's entertaining.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
This is my spare time. I've got an addiction to that, and then I get on Instagram and I just see what hot tea and drama is going on that day. But the sky is falling. Like, appointment volume is down. Well, this is a direct correlation. Now, 80% of our clients are up in revenue this year, and they're up in profitability. It's an average of like 16 to 17%. The ones that were bigger and that have been around longer, they're not seeing. It's like the law of numbers. So, a $1 million practice, to get a 30% growth, you just have to do a lot less in terms of the dollars, versus a $3 million practice that wants to see 30 million, or 30% in growth. But and then the ones that are not growing, typically due to some major disruptions, like we've got several practices. I think they've got baby factories over there. Something's in the water. They're just all pregnant. And so everybody's going out on maternity leave, or they've lost some key providers. or they've just had like unfortunate saturation of their little geographical area. And then marketing dollars are, really been being spread thin. But the ones that are surviving and thriving, they're going above and beyond just opening the doors and putting a sign.
Yeah.
How am I marketing? How is my experience? How are my providers? Am I doing something better? Like, people are not satisfied with just meets expectations anymore. There's too many practices. Yeah. You have to go above and beyond and go to the next level. Is there high touch? I get on this marketing kick. This is what I'm my pedestal that I'm on right now. What do you mean you got all of these leads and you called them once and you never called them again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guess what? Somebody else has called them every day, and they called their mom, and they've texted them, and they sent a pigeon to their house to go get them as a patient. Yeah. And they made it so convenient and easy. And then they rolled out a red carpet whenever they got to the practice. Yeah. Those are the patients that are showing up at the practices and that are continuing to come back.
Yeah. Because our attention span is so short. Like, if you don't get back with me, I've moved on to the next thing, and I think that's everybody. And so you have to.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you can't blow them up too much.
I know. That is so true. So, I mean, you and I, like, we're business owners. I'm a mom of 2 very small young kids. You're a mom. I've seen your kids at conferences. Yeah. And the only time that I had to book this appointment was 8 p.m. at night. You're closed. But if I'll go, just keep calling me, please.
I know.
Like,
you help me.
Make it easy. Yes.
Exactly. Make it easy to book. Make it easy. You do a lot of it for me, and I'll go and I'll spend money because I want to do this. It's just, you're pulled in so many different directions. You can't.
I know. I made this joke, it's not a joke, like, bless my little dog's heart. But if the vet did not harass me about making the buy-in, like, the dog would not make it to the vet. But they make it so easy, like, I can't, like, they just, like, made it convenient. And then, because I've got a baby, I bought something off of Baby Gap. And, wow, if my text and email is not 100% Gap right now, like, I mean, that's kind of, like, where it has to be, and they're getting creative with their marketing approaches. It's like, hey, Christin, this is Tanya, and I'm like, oh, did I talk to a Tanya at Gap? Like,
Tanya.
Like, you just have to be better, and you got to be faster, and you got to be smarter, and you have to be willing to adapt and adjust. Look at it. If it's not working, what is working?
Yeah, exactly. What is it? Alex Ramosi says, like, whatever's working, like, 10x that. Like, just do more.
10x it. Yes. That. And you know what, the last comment that I'll make, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this from some people, but while there are more med spas that are opening up, there's also more people that are wanting to buy med spas. And a lot of folks are getting unsolicited offers, and this is really great. It's super flattering. And we're seeing this shift. There's more med spas opening up, but there's also more consolidation. There's more private equity. There's more strategic partners, more multi-locations that are gobbling these locations up. I'd be very thoughtful about what you do if you do get an unsolicited offer. Like, your finances better be clean. I would highly recommend you use a broker. And this is where it's unpopular, and I'm probably going to get phone calls after this. like, no, stop telling people that. But, their goal is to, like, be fair. Like, you probably went to dinner and you know them, and they're so friendly, and you've got a friend that sold to them. But do due diligence here. Their goal is to buy you for as little as possible, still make it fair. Yeah. And then if you go ahead and sign the first offer, you could be leaving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the table, and I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Regardless of how much you like this person, just give yourself the benefit of at least looking at other offers. Don't sign anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, especially in the medical field, they kind of take advantage of the Oh, this is great. Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
But there could be, that could be the worst deal out there, like you said.
It could be, but you have no other context because you haven't seen
Yeah,
anything.
you haven't been looking at it. Oh, I don't. I think it's good advice. I'll support you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll forward you some of the hate
Okay,
mail
I'll
that
share
I
it with
that was
you.
receiving.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. This was such great information,
you.
and I really appreciate your time and spending it with us and sharing. How can people get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can visit us at our website. It's Maven FP, so MAVEN, as in financial, P as in partner.com. And you can fill out a form. You'll instantly get access to my calendar, my partner Jessica's calendar, and you can come talk to us. And if you're interested in a financial assessment, you want us to look at your financials, would be happy. You just go to our website and we can take care of you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And you can find us at Beauty Unveiled wherever you get your podcasts.